Welcome back to Mersin in Turkey and the second half of today's World Challenge Cup Finals Day. We've already had 5 fantastic finals with some outstanding performances from our talented gymnasts, and there is still plenty more to look forward to with another 5 finals on the way. And here are our athletes primed and ready to go for another round of competition. Some new faces, but also some faces we've already seen in the first part of the day. Some medalists who are going for glory a second time around. These are the beam competitors. The 8 best qualifiers on beam have made it through to today's final. And as the women's beam competition is underway, so will the men's vault. Well, this World Challenge Cup event coming at a really critical time for these gymnasts, with the World Championships in Antwerp just a couple of weeks away. And then, of course, the big one, the Paris Olympic Games, less than a year away. So these gymnasts, of course, want to be hitting form at this time in order to secure their qualification spots and in order to secure vital medals as well. Today's event is being brought to you from Mersin in Turkey, the 3rd gymnastics event to take place in the country this year, in what is a huge year for the sport in this country. 25 different nations are competing here today. And Turkey, of course, is well represented, and they've already taken a handful of medals so far for their troubles. And some really inspired performances from the youngsters, and also from some old faces too. That is Rose Wu currently warming up on the beam. She's already taken a medal today. She took silver on the uneven bars just a little while ago. So a successful day so far for the Canadian. That is the start list for the balance beam, and it will be Sevgi Kausalo of Turkey who gets us underway, followed by Nicolette Silagi, Rose Wu of Canada. Many of those competitors have already been competing today. A couple of new names in there: Hu Ying, Angel Wong and Xiang Han Mai Lu, as well as Tina Zarchich, the 3 new faces. Anna Washevska of Ukraine, the youngster, the teenager, she took a gold medal on the bars just before the break, and she is now back on beam and hoping, I'm sure, to replicate that success. It'll be the Turkish athlete Sevgi Kausalo who is first up on the beam. She is part of a really exciting new generation of Turkish women's gymnasts, along with Jeren Biner, Bengisu Yildiz and Derin Tan Reyasakor. Each of those athletes will perform on 3 different apparatus here in Mersin. So a busy day for the Turkish women. Long before the competition resumes, the athletes just having a bit of a last-minute warm-up, get a feel for the apparatus. And then we will begin. Sola waiting patiently for the beam competition to get underway. She is 18 years of age. Took up gymnastics at 5 years of age. That's the start list for the men's vault. Igor Radivilov will kick us off, followed by his compatriot Nazar Chaperny, Kevin Penev, Abdulaziz Miraliev, Christopher Nazarosh, Wei Shen-Seng, Benedikt Tomshani, and Bojidar Zlatanov. So some familiar names from the earlier finals in the day. Gorodyliov getting us underway. He has an absolutely incredible record on vault. He won a medal at the London 2012 Olympics. He's a complete veteran on this apparatus. Rings as well. He finished second in qualification, not too far off Nazar Chaperny. Same difficulty, Chaperny and Radivilov. Sevgi Gaisalo just waiting for the green light. She looks ever so relaxed. There's huge support for the home athletes here in this arena in Mersin. Igor Radivilov ready to go. .6 for his difficulty in qualification. He's capable of much more difficult vaults, but I suspect he will stick to a 5.6 in this final. Oh, big step forward on landing. Chest a bit too far down, I suspect. Wry smile. He knows he could have done better. Sevgi Kaisela is a bar specialist, but she looking very much at home on the beam. And a huge roar goes up from the home crowd in Mersin. And there's a big smile too from the gymnast. She is pretty pleased with how she did there on the beam, and that's a very assured performance from Sevgi Kaysolo to kick things off in this beam final. Very well done to the Turkish gymnast. Nazar Chapurny of Ukraine is second to go on the men's vault. He's been doing so well at World Cup events. Finished top qualifier. Won gold at the University Games in August with a 14.833. He and Igor Radivilov had the same difficulty score. Similar execution score. Chapurny, slightly better execution. So it could be, well, judging by the results from qualification, it will be tight between those two. Hungary's Nicolet Shilagi is second to go on the beam. 14.750 for Chapurny. That is up from his qualification score of 14.675, so I'm sure he'll be pleased with that improvement. Of course, keep you up to date with all the numbers as they come in. Sevgi Kaysolo kicks us off in this beam competition with a 12.633. Penalty there for that step. Nazar Chapurny ready to go with his second vault. He got a 9.2 for his execution in qualifying. Difficulty 5.6. And it's good. Half a smile there towards his coach and teammates. And this is Nicolet Shilagi, who is the second up on the beam. Well, that was a great dismount, really well controlled, really tidy. And she was satisfied there. You could see the smile at the end. It's great to see a gymnast looking pleased with their performance at the end of it, because they all work so incredibly hard. Kevin Penev of Bulgaria. Well, Kevin is here with his older brother Eddie, who took a medal earlier on. I'm sure Eddie will now be cheering on his little brother Kevin in this vault competition. He finished as the 6th best in qualifying. Both Penev brothers have represented Bulgaria at European Championship level. Sure, it's a great support to each of them when they're travelling far from home, to have the other supporting them. Second vault for Penev. 5.2 difficulty. He got an 8.85 for execution in his second vault. 14.025 overall in qualifying. Oh, didn't quite stick the landing. Just suspect he didn't quite get enough height to fit in all of those rotations. Paid the price at the end. Well, after 3 gymnasts have gone, Penev finds himself third. It's the 2 Croatians who are first and second as things stand. Rose Wu of Canada, she took silver on the uneven bars a little earlier on. Can she take home a second medal today? Rose Wu has been around for a while. She's represented Canada. She was in the Canadian Olympic team in Rio in 2016. Her sister also has competed for the national team. So another gymnastics family. She looks a little nervous. I don't know whether it's nerves or focus. Could well be a combination of both. Nice tidy dismount for Rose Wu. Nicolet Schlagi awaiting her results. 13.067 puts her ahead of Sevki Kaisolo. Abdulaziz Merliev is the 4th up on the vault. We saw him competing earlier on, and the floor is preferred apparatus. Not bad on vault either, really tidy vault, good height in the air. Slight step to the left on landing. Nevertheless, that was pretty solid. Well, he has two 5.6 difficulty vaults, so there's nothing to stop him being a contender. Just a question as to whether he can hit them. His execution of 9 and 8.6 in qualification suggests he had a couple of issues, and there's one stepping right off the mat. Didn't stick the landing at all. He did win the Asian Artistic Gymnastics gold. Of course, the athletes who wish to compete in the Paris Olympics next year have to compete in the Asian Championships in order to secure a spot at the World Championships in Belgium next month. So he is on track for that. But that big step will have cost him. Xiang Mai Lu is next to go. (31 years of age, from Chinese Taipei. Rose Wu has got herself into the front. Just pips Nicolette Chilagi on the beam so far. Early days, of course, and this is Xiang Mai Lu, the 31-year-old from Chinese Taipei. She has a doctoral degree and has worked as a gymnastics coach at Taiwan Normal University. So very accomplished woman indeed. She said she was encouraged to take up the sport by a customer who came into her father's shop and recommended she give gymnastics a go. Well, slight rotation on the dismount. Facing exactly the way she should have been. .14.150 puts Abdulaziz Nuriev into second place so far on the vault. And that is a shame. Christopher Mezarosh, it was flying on his dismount. No bonuses for backwards rolls on landing. His second vault is lower on the difficulty. Generally his execution is very good. These are just the warm-ups for the second lot of competitors. So we have reached the halfway stage of the vault and the women's beam. 4 gymnasts have been and gone, and there are 4 more still to compete. So slight break for the warm-ups for the final 4 on each apparatus. So next up will be Christopher Mezarosh on the vault. He was the 7th best in qualification. As I said, his second vault is lower on the difficulty than his first, and his execution is generally excellent. Next up, 12.334 Haisiang Mailu. Fourth of 4 at the moment. So she is not in medal contention. As it stands, it's Rose Wu who is currently occupying that gold medal spot on the beam, followed by Nicolette Shilagi and the Turkish gymnast Sevgi Kaysolo. There you can see confirmation then of the scores on the balance beam so far. And that's how the men's vault is looking after the first 4 athletes have done their vaults. Well, next up on the balance beam it is Anna Lashevska. She took gold on bars a little earlier on. I'm sure that will have filled her with absolute confidence heading into the beam final. And should take home a second medal. Christopher Azarosh, 5th up on vault. His first vault, it'll be very good because he needs it for the all-round and team finals at international level. But he really needs a second vault, but his first vault is strong. Oh, big step to the side. That'll be costly. It is quite unusual to see him in a vault final, though he's not a vault specialist, but he is a very useful part of the Hungarian squad. So he does need to be able to execute a pretty decent vault. Anna Lashevska of Ukraine. She has a gold medal to her name already. Second vault for Mezarosh. Much better landing on the second vault. Stayed within those tram lines, dead on the middle. Very neat, tidy shape in the air, legs straight, tight, close together. Well, she is new to the senior competition, Anna Lashevska. We have seen her here and there at World Cup level. She's certainly making a mark in Mersin. A very solid performance on the bars, so solid that it got her a gold. We'll see her again in floor later on. So she'll be competing across 3 different events. She looks assured, collected, confident on the beam. Was she impressed with the trio of medals at World Cup events earlier in the spring? First year of senior competition for the teenager. It's another job well done for the young Ukrainian. Wei Sheng is the penultimate on the vault. He was third best in qualification. Recently won a medal at the World University Games in Chengdu. Finished behind Nazar Chaperny, who you can see there at the top of the standings. He got the gold. Zheng Wei Sen was third in the final in Mersin last year. This doesn't look great. Let's just take another look, see what we can get a better look at what happened. Not sure where the problem with that began, but his shape in the air was a little untidy, legs far apart, and that is such a shame to see him hobbling off like that. It didn't look like it was his leg that he hurt. He sort of landed on his shoulder and his face, and it's a real shame to see him injured like that. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Heavy strapping already on his knee. Let's hope it's not the same issue. And you can see that he really jarred that right leg on landing. Would have been rather painful, I suspect. Let's hope that it's nothing too serious and that the physios and doctors can get that sorted out pretty quickly. Another high score for Anna Olszewska. That is enough to put her into gold on the beam so far. Quite a significant margin between her and Rose Wu, who is now in silver. This is Lucia Hribar. And if we remember her performance on bars a little earlier on, she actually fell off the bars during that routine. She'll be hoping for a better performance on beam. Hopefully she can put that bars routine behind her. Focus on this. Stay on and do a good job. Wonderful dismount. Nailed the landing. A couple of slight wobbles during the routine, but that was a fantastic dismount for Lucia Hribar. making up for the disappointment of the uneven bars earlier on. Benedikt Tomaszani of Hungary is the last to go on the vault. He was the 8th qualifier. And much like Christopher Lazaro, he's not necessarily a vault specialist, but he is an important part of the national team, so he's got a decent first vault, but the second isn't quite so strong. He needs his first vault at international level. But it's quite unusual to see him in a vault final. His second vault is a 4 for difficulty. First vault 4.8, second vault 4. Execution for the first vault 9.050, 9.450, so better execution in the second one, albeit much easier vault. This is our last competitor on the beam, Ying Wong. She is a 36-year-old from Hong Kong. I've seen her mostly on vault, that's where she's had the majority of her success. Bronze medal in the Summer University Games in Shenzhen in 2011. Silver in the vault in the 2012 Pacific Rim Championships, and in 2008 in the Asian Championships in Doha also took a silver on vault. She does have one eponymous skill. She's got a skill named after her. That's the salto forward tucked half turn mount. That was added to the code of points in the 2012 London Olympic Games. That concludes our women's beam competition. Yu Ying, Angel Wong, the last to go on beam. Nice solid performance from her to finish off the beam competition. But as things stand, it is Anna Lashevska is the athlete she needs to beat. She is well in front with a 13.76. Benedikt Tomaszani Last to go on vault. Pretty good landing. It's only a very slight hop forward. My apologies. That is not Benedict Tomshani. Zlatanov. I do apologise. It's the athlete we've just seen, the final athlete to go on vault. Another really solid vault from the Bulgarian. Really tidy gymnast. He was the 5th best in qualification. He's just a teenager still. He made his World Cup debut the Varna World Challenge Cup earlier this year. He was thrilled to be in a televised final in his hometown. He was absolutely delighted to be there with the TV cameras on that stage in Varna. What a wonderful experience for him. Croatia's Tina Zeloc. Last up on beam. She is a beam specialist, although she does have the lowest difficulty of any qualifier with a 4.6. You actually have to go down to 11th place to find someone with a lower difficulty rating. 11th place in the qualifying. She got a 7.85 for execution. And if Zelic wins this, it'll be a real triumph of execution over difficulty. Well, the execution was good. Oh, that score, not enough to get onto the podium. Still Anna Mashevska, who is on top at the minute. 13.76 ahead of Rose Wu, who's on 13.16. Shen Wei-Tsen limping after that painful looking dismount in which he fell on his a really uncomfortable position on his right leg. Looked like a really jarring fall. At first glance, it looked like he landed on his shoulder and face, but on the replays you could see that his right leg landed really heavily. Certainly hope that that's not too serious an injury for him. Rings finalists making their way out onto the floor. And they will be accompanied or followed quickly by the women's floor finalists. Those two events taking place simultaneously. That's the standings for the men's vault. Still Nazaj Perny occupying the top spot. So gold for Ukraine for Nazaj Perny. Women's floor finalists being introduced to the crowd. As are the rings finalists. The Turkish athletes there on the left of your picture. Carrying the home nation's hopes. Turkish athletes really well supported by the fans here in Mersin. Zelic, 12.633, the final athlete to go on the beam. Well, not enough to get onto the podium. Very low difficulty score, 4.6. We move on to the floor. The athletes will have a quick warm-up as ever, just to get used to the feel of the surface. Get themselves properly warmed up. And we will begin. Floor final taking place alongside the rings final. And on the floor it'll be Lucia Hribar who gets us underway first of all. She's only just finished her beam routine and now she is straight onto the floor, so not much breathing time for Hribar. Straight back into it. There is the confirmation of the beam results. Second gold medal for the young Ukrainian Anna Nashevska. Yunus Gundogdu, the home athlete, gets us underway. First of all on the rings, he's followed by his teammate Mehmet Kosak. And then Blas Stewart goes for Australia, followed by Igor Radivilov. We've seen him in action already today. Balazs Kiss, Luis Malanda and Robert Kermez. Vladislav Hriko finishes things off for us. So they are your men's rings finalists. The eight best in qualifying made it through to today's final. There's Igor Radivilov, you can see, who's just having a quick practice. He's currently on the apparatus as we speak. That is the start list for the women's floor. Lucia Hribar gets us underway. Nicolette Shilagi, Angus Yildiz. All three have already competed today. Ida Baryshnikova of Kazakhstan, a new face, as is Ayana Krupa of Ukraine. Yunus Gundogdu is first up. Huge round of applause, as you'd expect from the home crowd for their athlete. It gets us underway in the rings competition. He was 4th in qualifying. He's what you might call a fringe member of the Turkish team. He was at the World University Games in Chengdu, the first time he'd actually been part of the Turkish national team for a while. Generally doesn't necessarily make the first team, but he's a very useful member of the squad. That was Lucia Hribar on the floor. First athlete to go on the floor, and that is the first athlete to go on the rings, Yunus Gundoktu, who scores a 14.000. He certainly deserves credit. He's worked very hard for a very long time. He got silver in this event in Mersin in 2019. It's his first time back in Mersin since then. He's followed by his teammate Mehmet Eberg Kosak. He was the 3rd best in qualification, Kosak. He's a great new gymnast who's coming through for Turkey. And Turkey has a great recent history of success on rings. Ibrahim Çolak won the world title in 2019. That was their first ever artistic gymnastic title, championship title. This athlete Kosak was in Çolak's shadow for a very long time. Çolak is still around, but he's had some injuries, and could be a good and a bad thing to be learning from the world's best, of course, but then he's not had that many chances to compete. Kosak is now a crucial part of every Turkish men's team. Look how pleased he is with that routine. Huge cheer from the crowd and from himself upon dismount. And that's a great start from the two Turkish gymnasts. Big hug too from the coaches. They liked what they saw. Nicolette Shilagi of Hungary. Again, we've just seen her competing on the beam. She's now made her way over to the floor. Nicolette Shilagi, ready to go. A really lovely performance from Nicolette Gilagi. Real mix of elegance and power. Ahmed Cossack, 14.450. Puts him in the lead, ahead of his teammate Yanis Gundogdu. Nikita Simonov. He was the top gymnast in qualifying. He's a ring specialist from Azerbaijan. He's excellent on this apparatus. He's got good difficulty rating, 6.2, and really clean execution. He is the overwhelming favourite for this event. He took the gold medal at his home World Cup in Baku earlier in the spring. Look how well he's holding his position. A very solid performance indeed from Nikita Simonov of Azerbaijan. Top in qualifying. Can he get to the top in this final? A 12.4 for Nicolette Gilagi of Hungary. Same score as Lucia. So those two gymnasts tied as things stand. Now this is our third athlete to compete on the floor. Bengisu Yildiz of Türkiye. Well, that was a really dynamic, lively performance from the Turkish gymnast Bengisu Yildiz. Great reaction from the crowd. She had them clapping along as she competed that routine. A 14.9 for Nikita Simonov puts him into top spot after 3 gymnasts have gone. It will be Igor Radivolov who's next up, the Ukrainian. He has got so many medals on rings. He was second best in qualification. His execution score was quite low compared to Simonov, 8.35 versus 8.9. Perhaps it was a bit of a nervy qualification. He certainly has the capacity to get a medal in this event, perhaps even win it. 14.9 is the score to beat. Lower than the 15.1, which was Simonov's qualification score. A nice tidy landing. Stuck his dismount. Is that enough to beat Simonov? 12.833. Bengüsü Yıldız gets herself into the top spot as things stand. That would mean so much for this home crowd. That was Ida Barisanova, 25-year-old, the 2021 Islamic Solidarity Games champion on floor. She is a floor specialist. She does look a little disappointed with herself. There was that landing partway through that floor routine where she fell forward onto her knees, didn't stick the landing, and she'll have been disappointed with that slight hiccup in the middle of that routine. There it is. You can see she falls forward onto her hands. That is the halfway point of both the floor and the rings exercises. Next up on rings, after this brief warm-up, will be Balázs Kiss of Hungary. We've already seen him competing today. And he'll be followed by Luis Melander of Sweden, Robert Kemers of Finland, and Vladislav Riko of Ukraine. That's how things stand so far on the floor. Bengüsü Yıldız, delight for the home crowd. Their athlete is in top spot, followed by Lucia Fribar and Nicolette Shilagi, who both scored a 12.4. Nikita Simonov currently top spot in the rings. Igor Radivilov, we've just seen him. He's got himself into third position. Not enough to challenge Simonov, who's at the top. 14.2, so a bronze for Radivilov as things stand. But of course, things could all change. There are still 4 more athletes to go. A disappointment for Ida Barisanova. Shakes her head. She knows she could have done better, should have done better. This is the only final she's competing in, the floor final. Another familiar face. It's Sevgi Solo, who is going to get us underway again on the floor. A teammate, Bengisu Yildiz, is currently on top spot at the minute. Can she join her on the podium? Kiss goes for Hungary next. 6th best in qualification. He actually won a bronze in the senior team event in the 2020 European Championships in Mersin, incidentally. He's only just turned 24. Again, very tidy from Balázs, as we expect from the Hungarian gymnasts. Always very tidy, very considered. It's a nice performance from Kiss. I'm also hoping for a nice performance is this athlete, Sevgi Kaysolu of Turkey. Well, you could hear the home crowd cheering throughout that routine, clapping along, really enjoying it. Both Turkish athletes actually have produced really dynamic, upbeat, high energy floor routines, real crowd pleasers, in fact. Well, Balázs perhaps would have been expecting a better score than 13.150. Nevertheless, he gets... Well, he's not... he's lower than he got in qualification, so I'm sure he'll be pretty disappointed. This is Sweden's Louis Melander. Just 18 years of age still. From Köpenhamn in Sweden. His first time competing in Mersin. First time he's made a final across a World Cup or a World Challenge Cup, so big achievement for the young Swedish athlete. finished 5th strongest qualifier. Still to come, we have Robert Kermes of Finland, Vladislav Kriko of Ukraine. So 6 gymnasts have competed. 2 more to go, and as things stand, it is Nikita Simonov, who was the overwhelming favourite coming into this rings competition, who occupies the top spot as things stand. Still to come on the women's floor. We have 3 athletes still to compete. Yes, Sanghan Mai Liu will be next. Chinese Taipei, we've just seen her on the beam. Well, that was another look there at Sevgi Kayasolo's floor routine as she awaits the judge's verdict. Will she be joining her teammate, her compatriot, Bengisu Yildiz, on that podium? She does. In fact, she takes top spot from Yildiz. It was Yildiz who was in the gold medal position, 12.833, and now Sevgi Kayasolo has knocked her teammate off the top spot, and she is now the one to beat. She is in that gold medal position. Very elegant and considered floor routine for Hyang Sang-han Mailu. 13.4 for Luis Malanda. Not enough for a spot on the podium. But nevertheless, great learning experience for the teenager from Sweden. And this is Robert Kermes of Finland. Already seen him in action today. We've also seen his brother Oscar, who picked up a medal earlier on. I'm sure they're a great support to one another. Kermes actually posted on Instagram that he'd done his rings qualification. He made some mistakes in qualifying, but he didn't break his foot, so that's a positive. pleased that he got himself into a final. Posted a picture with himself and his brother and said it's a family thing. His dad there too. And he also posted a picture of himself by a pool saying some well-needed recovery time before tomorrow's final. So looks like he's having a really lovely time in Mersin. Some good quality time with the family. Well, didn't stick the landing, stepped off the mat. But judging by his social media posts, he's delighted to have made the rings final. Delighted to be in Mersin with his brother too, which is lovely to see. Back to the floor. Nazanin Demirova of Azerbaijan. Next up. Another look at Robert Kermes then. The penultimate athlete to go on rings. We are just awaiting Nazanin Demirova, who is the penultimate gymnast to go on floor. She's a young athlete. She's a reasonably new addition to World Cup finals. It's great to see the next generation of youngsters coming through and getting this kind of experience. .12.133 puts her ahead of Ida Borisanova, who's currently last. A very assured performance there from the young Azerbaijan gymnast. 13.3 for Robert Kermes. Thumbs up and a wave. He's not too disappointed with that. Not enough for a podium spot, but that big step on landing did cost him. That is not Nazanin Demirova. We've just seen her. This is our last athlete to go on rings. Vladislav Hireko. He's a big part of the Ukrainian team. He's 26 years of age. In February of 2021 he underwent surgery to repair his ACL and lateral meniscus in his right knee. Had a back injury in 2019 that meant he missed the European Championships in Poland. He's had his fair share of bad luck with injuries. He does want to compete in the Paris Olympics next year. He was 8th best in qualification. Plenty of support anyway for the Ukrainian gymnast. And our last gymnast on floor is also a Ukrainian. This is Ilyona Krupa. She is 16 years of age. She comes from Lviv. She is part of the senior roster on the Ukraine women's national team. Krupa just waiting patiently until the results are awarded for Nanazin Timarova. And then she will get underway with her floor routine. This is the only final she's appearing in Mersin. .12.2 for Nanazin Timarova. Not enough to get her on the podium. It's still Sevgi Kayasolo who is streets ahead of the rest with a 13.8. Well, she had some absolutely lovely tumbling passes in that routine. Such an elegant gymnast. But just unfortunately was let down there on a couple of her landings that she didn't quite stick. 13.050 for Hariko of Ukraine. So it is Nikita Simonov who is head and shoulders above the rest. 14.9 for him. He takes the gold in the men's rings. Here, that is Ilyona Krupa's score then, 11.6 for the young Ukrainian gymnast. These are the medalists for the men's vault. Ukraine, Uzbekistan and Ukraine. Two medals for Ukraine then in the men's vault, as well as Uzbekistan. Very high quality vault final, of course. Nazar Chupani, Igor Radivolov and Abdulaziz Miraliev. Well, big smiles for the medalists, photos, as well as you'd expect. People want to remember these wonderful occasions, scenes of their triumphs. The women waiting patiently, the beam medalists waiting for their chance to collect their medals, but it is Nazar Chupani, Abdulaziz Miraliev and Igor Radivolov who are enjoying their moment. Bronze, silver and gold in the men's vault. Here are the women's beam medalists. Big smile there for Rose Wu. 2 medals for her today, Rose Wu, and 2 medals for Anna Lashevska as well. 2 golds, in fact. Gold on asymmetric bars, gold on the beam. Rose Wu, she took silver on bars, takes silver on beam too. And Nicolette Shilagi finishing in 3rd. Well, a really proud day for Anna Lashevska, the teenager from Ukraine who takes home 2 gold medals, bars and beam. What a day for her. What a day too for Rose Wu from Canada. Silver on beam, silver on bars. And Nicolette Shilagi, bronze medal of her exploits on beam. Well, the men's rings medalists will be next up to claim their prizes. And of course it was Nikita Simonov, the overwhelming pre-final favourite, who triumphed 14.9. He scored in the rings final as the bronze medalist Igor Radivilov. His bag is going to be an awful lot heavier going home today than it was when he arrived. Couple of medals for his troubles, and the cheers go up for Mehmet Kovac, silver medalist from the home nation. And there is the champion Nikita Simonov taking home the gold. Well, there seems to be some confusion as to which way the gymnasts need to face for the national anthem. Figured it out now. Confirmation of the results for the rings. Gold goes to Azerbaijan, Nikita Simonov, the overwhelming favourite heading into this final. Mehmet Kosak for Türkiye, and Ukraine's Igor Radivilov taking silver and bronze respectively. Well, high fives from the Turkish gymnast, the silver medalist. For the women who are waiting to collect theirs, Mehmet Kovac, great sportsman. High fives, the women who are waiting to collect their floor medals. It's lovely to see that kind of camaraderie and respect within the ranks. And what a great day for the home nation. 2 more medals for the Turkish gymnasts. They do well. They both had really Dynamic, upbeat, exciting routines. The crowd were cheering, they were clapping along, they were on their feet. I really enjoyed those performances. And here come the medals. Sergei Solo taking gold. Yildiz takes the silver. And the bronze goes to Lucia Hribar. Turkiye 1-2, and Hribar, she made up for earlier disappointment when she came off the bar. In the earlier final, she put that behind her and she managed to put in an absolutely fantastic performance to take bronze on the floor. Well, that was certainly a popular one for the crowd. We'll get to cheer on their home athletes once again. What a successful day for the home nation in Mersin. Yildiz